As I was saying before, this next gentleman knocks my socks off. My gosh, Ken, how long do we know each other now? I mean, the first time, it's got to be 8 years? It's forever. Long enough to know better. Get out! No, he has tremendous power of the space between words and the choice of words. I love his stories. I love the manner in which he tells the tale and scribes them. It gives me great pleasure. Ken Holland.
Here comes your first disappointment of the evening.
Well, choices we make.
Indeed. This first poem is called Salt. Rain passed through last night like chittering birds, beckoning me to join them. I don't know why I didn't. There's a frailty to my life that has its own sweetness. I feel it when I see you lick oil and salt from the tips of your fingers, the slender bone articulating beneath the sheath of your skin. In whatever tense we speak, it's only the soft wave of your voice that matters. The streets are quiet and hold on to small pools from the early hour storm. Concrete and steel and glass, and still the scent of earth, still the impulse to reach my hand down to soil. Illusion is its own language, like a mouth that opens into silence, like a hand that reaches for what's been buried away. You can sense the depth, the cold breath of sorrow, and still your fingers reach down through the dark. If you pull my body from the earth and run it through a river riven with stone, know that the river runs to the sea, and there you can dip your fingers, and there lick my salt from your skin. So I'm going to read 2 instead of 3 poems, but I'm going to take that missing third poem to actually say a few words. So when I was, it's one of those horrible things like when I was growing up, right? But basically grew up in New York, and my father, though, was from southwestern Pennsylvania, so every year we'd go out to visit my grandparents out in that part of the world. And so my earliest memories were of that place were from the very beginning of when I could first retain them. And I had my not only my grandparents, but my uncle and his family lived right next door, and they had a daughter, my cousin. We were very close in age, and we just were so tight. And, again, so infrequently that we'd get a chance to be together. And it was up through until I was about 15 years old, and then, you became whatever, your life got full of, your own life and hormones, and who wants to go out to see grandma anymore, right? So, anyway, many years have passed, and I'm of that stage of my life, and I just thought I would reach out to try to locate her. I knew she'd moved out to Montana, and I had a phone number from my mother had, and this was like 2 weeks ago, and I tried to call, and it just busy, hours later, busy, next to busy all the time. And long story short, I'm a Luddite on technology. I'm not part of any social media, but I just did a search, and she passed about 8 years ago. I missed it. And anyway, so about I don't know 6 or 7. But the line's busy. She's still waiting to pick up. So about 6 or 7 years ago, I'd written a poem that where it was about her, just at that time. So I'm going to read it as a sort of memorial. So it's called "Bust Out the Blueberries." It's my time out there with her. Bust out the blueberries, the ones we picked 40 years ago. If I hold my hand up to a naked moon, I could just make out the thin welts, the etched lines of blood from the thorns. 40 years in the healing, 40 more if I live that long. Break out your guitar too if you can hear me. Don't worry about the tuning, it was never right, ever. Your voice was everything, rising like heat from the ground in the hour past dusk, its dark drift and ragged scent of earth, then gone. Hike up your skirt, there's that creek to cross, crossing it still. I was the one who slipped and cursed the God you believed in. You were the one whose laughter silenced the water's headstrong flow, whose cruelty bound my pain as I leaned into your body, making our slow way back. I didn't know who you were then. I know even less now. No fault in that. It was neither reason nor knowledge that tore down my heart. Heat was the blame. The night sky revolving, hands brushing in the dark, your father calling you home.